G'day everybody, Max right here, and I have another big Q&A for you here, which is your questions answered. So if you have any questions, again, you're encouraged to write them in the comments below. I will make another video here soon, doing another Q&A and answering all your questions as they come through. So please go ahead and do that. I want to thank everybody. Got a bunch of new subscribers. You guys have been smashing that like button and sharing. So thank you very much for all of that. Most of these video questions come from the Peter Schiff video I did. So for those of you who don't know, Peter Schiff and I have been in a little bit of a dialogue the last couple of weeks, and he's been commenting and writing on my videos. And he had some points that he made via comment, and then I made a video in response to him, which, by the way, he's made 3 comments on my previous video. Actually, in fact, this one here, Peter Schiff's questions answered. He's made 3 separate comments on that. I'm going to make another video shortly after this one, answering his questions in video. So make sure you subscribe and watch this debate. It's a really important debate from a fierce pro-Bitcoiner, a fierce anti-Bitcoiner, and I think it's a very productive discussion, and we're getting somewhere. So I think it's important that if you're a Bitcoin fan or a gold bug, that you really want to watch this. And also, let's try and encourage Peter to let's do an actual conversation here. I think we're going to cover a lot more ground if we can both get on a video chat here, and we'll cover a lot of ground and have some really good stuff covered. So yeah, encourage you to do that. Let's reach out to Peter and say it's time for this now. In fact, I think there's so much interest from the gold bugs and the Bitcoin bugs. If we spent a week promoting this, I think we could have about 100,000 live viewers watching Peter and myself go at it on friendly terms about whether or not Bitcoin has a future. So let's encourage Peter to do that. Reach out to him via Twitter and on his YouTube channel. I'd love to make that happen. Okay, so let's go into the questions that were asked. In fact, this one is not a question. It's actually just some praise for Success Council, which is good. I'll come back to that at the very end, actually. So the first one is from Renzord, which is, thanks for your videos, Max. What is your opinion on 401k plans? Do people need to keep them, or rather cash them out ASAP to exchange them for gold or crypto? So this is not a mutually exclusive question. So to begin with, 401k plans, I don't have one. I've never had any kind of retirement vehicle, with the exception way back 20 years ago when I was a 16-year-old working at Blockbuster or something in Australia. The government steals your money and sticks it into an account which you can't touch until you're 65. They've probably wasted all and it's eaten away by fees by now. But that's the only retirement account I've ever had. And I don't believe in them for a few different reasons. I don't think you should put money into them. For this reason, it's tax-free on the way in, but then you pay taxes on the way out. And the question you've got to ask yourself, do you think taxes will be higher in the future or lower in the future? And so I think taxes are just going to keep going up and up and up. And so I always thought taxes were going to be higher in the future. So I'd rather pay my taxes now than later. Plus, if you get some good accounting advice and do some, you get yourself into that investor mindset, start learning what investments have tax breaks, you can massively reduce your amount of tax that you pay right now anyway. So I don't pay a great deal of tax on the way in. Like everybody, I'm trying to minimize my tax obligation. So, and on the way out, so there is no, I have a lot more freedom with my money because it's not in a retirement vehicle. However, if your money is in a retirement vehicle now, it's probably worth just leaving it there. What I can advise is you can invest in anything you want in a retirement vehicle. You just have to, without withdrawing it from the retirement vehicle, i.e. not getting stuck with the tax consequences of early withdrawal. So what you can do is you can apply to have your retirement vehicle self-managed. And it's not really apply, it's more just you just do it. It's a process that you do, and if you can just Google it, you can. Inside the Success Council membership area, we have interviews with a bunch of different people who do it, and I recommend a few people who do that. But you can change your retirement vehicle into a self-managed retirement vehicle, and now that opens up a lot more flexibility of what you can invest in and what you can't invest in. And so I believe you can invest, well, I know you can invest in precious metals. I believe you can invest in cryptocurrencies as well with your private and self-managed retirement vehicle. By the way, I know this is true in Australia, I know this is true in the USA, and I'm pretty confident it will be true all over the world. So you can self-manage your retirement vehicles, you can liquidate all your stocks, all that stuff. You don't have to, there's no certain asset classes you have to own. You can even leave it in fiat. Just leave it in the retirement vehicle, in that bank account, and then you will not occurring any tax consequences for early withdrawal from your retirement vehicle. Dixie Normus Hey, Mike, I think that's me. Can you still see Bitcoin falling below 5,000? Absolutely. I'm not saying it is going to happen. I'm just saying I can absolutely see it. So we had a big deflationary shock in February, March this year. Stock market gets hit. There is another, by the way, Bitcoin got hit pretty hard, 50% at the time. There is another deflationary shock coming. It's going to last longer, maybe a little smoother. Probably the first few weeks of it will be pretty sharp. But there's another deflationary shock. It's going to last a couple of years, and we are going into big time lower stock market prices for sure. I'm very confident. Real estate prices for sure, very confident. Pardon me. And I don't. It's entirely possible that precious metals and bitcoins will not be safe. I'm not saying they are going lower. I'm saying it's absolutely possible that they could go lower. I think they will go lower a little bit at least. And then there might be some stimulus, and which will try and save some of the other parts of the economy, but it won't. Maybe some of that money will flow into precious metals and Bitcoin. But yeah, I'm not suggesting that Bitcoin has seen its last days below 5,000. Sharud, when do you think retail, Amazon, and Costco will start accepting Bitcoin? And what do you think they will do with it? Hold it on their balance sheet or turn around and sell it in the market? What roads need to be built in Bitcoin land, in your opinion, for that to happen? So Amazon far more likely than Costco, but I still think we're a fair way away from Amazon and Costco directing Bitcoin directly. In fact, I think the only reason that would happen, Bitcoin would have to explode in price first. It would just have to be a much more widely used currency before it's done being accepted at Amazon and Costco. Then I would say they would almost certainly liquidate all of it, sell it straight back into the market. They may choose to hold a small portion, like Overstock chose to do. But generally, I don't think that will be. The vast majority of retailers will just liquidate 100% of it. What else can I share on that topic? Yeah, I think the big trigger for that is going to happen is, more importantly, is a drop in the faith of US currency. That's going to be the big mover. You don't have to worry too much about Bitcoin doing things, going somewhere before X happens. What's going to happen faster is that the existing system is going to collapse and there will be Bitcoin ready to take over. So that's my view on that. Question, will the establishment ever lose the ability to manipulate cryptocurrency? And if so, when will it happen? In other words, will there be a time when the masses buying crypto outweighs the establishment control and manipulation of it? Thanks much. So, Patrick, I'll be fair here. I have not kept a really close eye on Bitcoin the last couple of years. I did all my research years ago. I got comfortable with it. I understood it. Understanding the minutiae day to day is not what I'm really interested in. Big picture, macro trends, whatever the biggest things that are going on in the economy is what I kind of look at. I think because they have the biggest effect on prices of all the different asset classes. So you're telling me that there's a manipulation of the cryptocurrency. I'm not arguing. I'm not saying I know too much about it either. And will there be a time when crypto outweighs? Yeah, I do think there's a very good thing here in that there's no need for crypto to have a derivatives market to the degree that, say, gold and silver has. Gold and silver is a very regulated market. It has an importance that it has a massive derivatives market because the cost of sending metals back and forth is extremely high. And it's an extremely cumbersome process. There's armored cars, there's vaults, there's storage. It's a headache. Crypto transferring back and forth costs pennies and is instant, and there's no storage fees. So why would you have to have a derivatives market to handle? You need futures, okay, but a derivatives market, you can just buy or sell the real commodity. It has more compared to gold and silver. There's a lot less reasons and a lot less tools that can be created for it to be manipulated. There's no need to buy a Bitcoin ETF. Just buy the darn thing. Just buy the Bitcoin. So that's my take on that. Thank you, Max. Could you do a video about Airbnb right now? What will their future look like after this housing collapse? So thank you. I was going to go Sharingan. So for those of you who don't know, I had 8 Airbnbs, as many as 8 Airbnbs at one time. I'm now down to 3. I've just kept the ones that were in kind of the suburbs. They weren't relying on tourist traffic. They're next to hospitals and It's like the type of guests I have is, I'm doing a kitchen renovation in my suburban house. Can I stay at your Airbnb for 2 months while the renovation's taking place? And those have held up quite well. I haven't even seen that big a dip in my revenues. And so I liquidated all the touristy ones before this kind of crash happened. So now, just that's a little bit of background. So why this person is asking me about Airbnb right now, I actually do know a little bit about it. So what can I see happening after this housing collapse that is about to start here soon? Well, Bitcoin, Airbnb, once that crash happens, what you'll see is that it'll be so much easier and inexpensive to come in and get these real estate, to buy the real estate, that now you can still make a profit on Airbnb if your cost base for buying the real estate is much lower. Now, a lot of professional Airbnbs, a lot of those super hosts actually just rent the property. And this could be a little bit of a challenge because rents will not go down anywhere near as much as the price of real estate. Okay, residential price will not go down anywhere near as much as the price. And so for the guys who are renting and then Airbnb-ing, they may have some cash flow issues. But if you can buy the real estate, you'll be able to have a much lower cost base in proportion. Like your mortgage payments, especially in certain markets, will be much lower than the guys who are renting and doing Airbnb. And so that, I think, will be a smarter play in a lot of different markets. And that's something we can watch. When the time comes and I'm scooping up all this real estate at what I believe will be very like pennies on the dollar in the near future, I'll then have a look at the cash flow of each of the different markets and see what am I better doing here, Airbnb or just doing straight long-term rentals. Now, Airbnb has to be a lot sexier than long-term rentals, or else it's not worth the headaches. There are a lot of extra headaches with Airbnb. And so I'll look at that when the time comes. And you'll definitely want to stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you're an Airbnb, subscribe to this channel. I'll let you know about the big movements that happen in the future years as this plays out. I hope that helps with you there. Hi Max, love your videos. Keep them coming. Question, I am 60% in fiat, 30% in metals, and 10% in Bitcoin. Is this wise or not? My thinking is when stuff gets cheaper, I can buy more stocks, oil, etc. But I'm afraid my fiat money will get worthless because of a bail-in. I am not in stocks right now, but is it safe to hold fiat in these times? Great question, LTJ. With regards to are you in a good position or not? Listen, I'm not a financial planner, so not an accountant, none of those things. I'm not licensed to do this, but if you want my opinion, or without knowing any other details about your life, you're in a pretty good position. You're not in the really toxic stuff, the real estate and the stock market. You got a healthy position in fiat. That is a pretty good position. Would not shock me at all if metals and Bitcoin go down further. Bitcoin's extremely liquid. I think you're always going to be able to get back into Bitcoin. Precious metals, the physical stuff, significantly less liquid. You may not be able to get in there. In my opinion, you're looking in a pretty good position. I would suggest you may not be waiting to go from fiat to real estate. You may be waiting to go from fiat to Bitcoin or precious metals and then real estate. That may be the best journey for you. Another part of this is your risk-reward ratios and your risk tolerance as an investor. I'm a little bit heavier in BTC than you. I'm probably also a little bit heavier in metals than you. But I have a high risk tolerance. Maybe you don't. So I think you're in a pretty good position is the crux of what I'm saying here. Should you be concerned of a bail-in? Yes. Can you do things to mitigate that? Yes. There's several sections on this inside the Success Council members area. However, just to begin with, something easy you can do, let's say you have $1 million in fiat, maybe instead of having that in one bank account, you go and put that across 5 different banks and have 5 accounts of $200,000. Because if there's a bail-in, I don't think it's going to be 50% of everything, like you lose X percent of everything. It'll be like you lose X percent of everything over $100,000 or over $200,000 or $250,000, like the FDIC insured amounts, that kind of stuff. I think that's going to be more how it looks like. So spreading your fiat around multiple bank accounts and multiple institutions can be helpful. Joey, If some form of universal basic income gets passed by the US government, such as is the current proposal, how do you see that influencing the stock market, dollar strength, precious metals, etc., short-term and long-term effects? I'm wondering if this could cause high inflation without a drastic deflationary period. Joey, that is a great question and a great thought there in your last sentence. Universal basic income is a truly horrific idea. It will be extremely tragic for any country that tries it and any stock market that tries it. Assuming you're thinking the stock market going down is tragic. I think the stock market and real estate markets, these bubbles need to pop. The sooner they can pop, the healthier this economy can become, and it can it'll start. It can be, what does it mean? It can have a healthy growth thereafter. So I'm not concerned about the stock market going down at all. I would like to see that. I think it would weaken the dollar, and I think it would weaken the economy significantly. Precious metals, I'm not sure what it would do too much to precious metals. Yeah, probably send precious metals north a little bit, because this is all riding. If this is implemented, it just massively hastens the destruction of the US dollar. It massively hastens the destruction of the economy. So anything that hastens the destruction of the economy, your safe haven assets like precious metals it's going to help in those things. Now, could it offset the high inflation? Sorry, could it cause high inflation? Without the drastic deflationary period? Yeah, it absolutely could. It could definitely puts pressure on in that direction. Enough? Probably not. I don't think so. Hi Max, thanks for your videos. Really appreciate them. When will you sell your gold and silver to buy shares, real estate, etc.? When the Dow gold ratio goes below 5, will you do a video to let us know when you're selling? Yeah, I will very much be watching the Dow gold ratio, the real estate gold ratio. I will be watching those ratios. Remember, I am desperate. I am keen to get into cash flowing assets, real estate, high dividend paying stocks. The question is, timing is when. Yes, some kind of ratio like that is absolutely a good way to do this. And I'll be looking for some kind of ratios like what you're talking about. Will I be doing videos on this? Absolutely, I will be doing videos on this. And so, yeah, you definitely want to subscribe to this channel. I'll tell you about when I'm switching asset classes as we go through this crisis. Something else I want you to know, most likely I'm going to have so much deal flow, i.e. big, beautiful apartment buildings full of tenants paying rent that I can get pennies on the dollar. I will probably be putting things out for syndication, meaning if you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, you can be a co-owner in a $10 million building, something like that. So what I highly recommend people do, if you're interested in that or think you may be interested in that in a few years, definitely subscribe to this channel, and also take a look at the link in the box. You definitely want to get my email list. That email list is over 20,000 strong right now. So you definitely want to get on that email list, and we'll probably be forming syndicates in the years to come. Let's see what else we have. Josh, Max, once we hit our top somewhere at the end of 2021, I think you mean bottom. Why is my nose so itchy? It's driving me crazy. Will you still be active on YouTube and help walk us through wealth transfer into either the stock market or real estate? Oh, it's the same question, effectively. Yeah, I just love talking about what I'm doing, and so I will almost certainly be making videos about that. I don't like to make promises like that, because who knows, maybe I'm sick or bored or interests elsewhere, but most likely I love teaching, and so I'll be making videos like this, I expect. But you definitely want to get on the email list. So once again, first link in the description, get on that email list. And let's see, this is from Sharon again. Why Bitcoin is not as good as gold as a store of value. If you put energy into real gold mines, you will earn the gold coin. When the miners get broke, you still have your gold coin and you can use it. It's a promise that in 100 years, you can still trade your gold coin. But are you sure the mining pools will still exist in 100 years? You need the mining pools running to exchange Bitcoins. Yes, I'm sure they'll be running. Here's why I'm sure they're running. If you have a Bitcoin and you want to trade, you can run a mining pool. You can run a miner. You don't need to have the size of the Bitcoin mining pool has zero input on the speed of transaction, the efficiency of the network, It has nothing to do with it, none. One miner or 100 million miners working in mining pools will still get transactions working. So that's a common misnomer. It does add to security, but it does not add to efficiency in any way, shape, or form. So if you want to fire up an old laptop and start up a mining pool when no one else is doing it, you're the only miner in town, you can do that. It's no problem. And the network will work just fine. So you don't need a mining pools or tens of thousands of miners to get the transactions working and to make it work. One computer will do it. Physical in your hands versus cloud. LOL, so hard to decide, ha ha ha. So I'm guessing that's full of sarcasm, and you're suggesting that physical has value, something in the cloud has no value. Massive mistakes. There's lots and lots of intangibles that do not have physical aspect to them. Would you rather own the domain google.com or 10 ounces of gold? No brainer. Google.com's worth billions of dollars. 10 ounces of gold's worth 20,000. Air rights. In New York, you can own an empty block of land, sell the air rights above it for tens of millions of dollars. There's an abundance of goods. Intellectual property, the entire patent office. There's just so much that is non-tangible. Brand names, color schemes, you can trademark everything. All these things are intangible. It's a huge mistake to think that because something is intangible means it cannot have value. So I hope that helps, Lone Jones. Big question, who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Until I can know for certain, I can't know that Bitcoin wasn't invented by a government. Who cares who it was invented by? It's just like saying, I'm not buying the house until I meet the bricklayer. If I don't meet Joe and get to know him and get to like him, I'm not going to buy the house. Who cares? Who cares what Bob's name is? Go and look at his work. Just go and look at his work. If you're happy with the brickwork, I don't care if he was a murderer or a rapist or an evil guy or a good guy. It doesn't matter. I'm buying the brickwork, not the personality. So I don't care who Satoshi Nakamoto is. It is an open source project. You can go and investigate the code yourself, use your intellect, and figure out what it works. If you aren't a coder like me, you leverage off a community of hundreds of thousands, millions of people who have inspected the code and will explain to you how it works. So you can just go and investigate the work. It doesn't matter who built it. It's a moot point. And finally, this isn't a question, but I threw it in there because it's a nice little success story. And what I loved about it, and I cut it off, unfortunately, but this had the biggest amount of upvotes in the video over all the questions and everything else. I love about this community that it has an abundance mindset. If someone shares a win, it just gets upvotes and people celebrate your victory. And I love the community we are building here, guys. So thank you so much for supporting Saxman here. He wrote a great message, meant a lot to me, and I'm great to hear he's crushing it. I did buy the Success Council course a year ago. I learned a lot and set up my IRA to precious metals using the firms you listed. My financial advisors thought I was crazy when I went to their office last fall and said I was going to sell my Roth IRA funds and transfer from stocks to precious metals. They don't deal with metals, so you had to take it off them. So they had to criticize you because you just lowered their income. They thought that I was crazy. Now I look like an effing genius. Saxman, love it, love it, love it. High five yourself. I love to hear those kinds of stories. All right, guys, next video coming up. We're going, Peter wrote quite a long and eloquent comment regarding my other video, Peter Schiff that is, and I'm gonna do a video response to that right now, but I'll release it the following day. So please subscribe. Don't forget, get on that email list. It's the first link in the description below. And guys, I'm gonna see you in the next video. Do me a huge favor, smash that like button and share, share, share. That Peter Schiff video's only got 1,500 views. I got to be honest, guys, that's not floating my boat. I really need to get up to 3,000 to 4,000 views at least, or I'm going to have to stop, or at least reduce the number of videos I'm doing because I just not worth my time. Like, for example, Mike Maloney, Gold Money, he does all this great video content. It's a fantastic channel, by the way. You should check it out. But he's selling, he's building up business for his gold and silver. And so I'm not really doing that, although I may at some stage offer Success Council again. If you want me to offer Success Council again, please let me know in the comments. But guys, we got to get my views up, or this I just won't be able to do this video. Okay, so please subscribe for that. By the way, after the Peter Schiff video, the one after that, I'm going to do a deep dive into the bailout of Carnival Cruises. It's so important that people get educated on this. This is a theft from the poor to the rich, and we've got to stop the bailouts. I'll do a full expose on that probably in about 2 videos time, so make sure you subscribe to that. It's going to be a great tool for you to send to other people and say, hey, we need to push back on what the politicians are doing. They're stealing from the poor and middle class, giving it to the rich, and it makes no sense. It cripples the economy long term. So guys, please, again, thanks for subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.